But I wanted to focus on the pedal deck and pedal mounting area. Now, I'm sure most of you by now have seen Next Level Racing's video where they were kind of jumping and standing on this. And I know this is the area where a lot of people had concerns, including myself, just around, you know, how sturdy this was going to be. Obviously, seeing the amount of adjustment that they have with these side plates kind of makes it look like it might not be particularly rigid. So I'm going to do exactly what they did in the video. I'm going to stand up on it. And if you look, my hands aren't touching anything. So all of my weight is on this. And I can literally jump on that. That's pretty darn cool. Even in the middle, if I put all my weight in the middle, I'm not feeling, I mean, I don't know what you guys can see on camera, but I'm certainly not feeling like my life is in any danger. The only thing I would say I notice is a little bit of side to side twist there. Now we will do this test again once we're in the formula seating position as well, just to make absolutely sure there's no sacrifices there. But yeah, a little bit of side to side movement. Probably not something that we're going to notice when we're driving, because obviously we're pushing longitudinally when we're braking and accelerating and all those things. So yeah, I'm actually really shocked. I thought that there was going to be a lot more flex than that. So yeah, so what we're going to do now is get the pedals mounted up. Now I'm going to, given the fact that this does appear to be so sturdy, I'm going to give this probably the worst case scenario test. We do have the V3 pedals here as well, but I'm going to mount my SimTag black pedals, which are hydraulic pedals. These are the most heavy duty pedals I own. But just to give you an idea of how this works, you've got your 3 slots along the top here. So regardless of what pedals you have, if you've got V3s, for example, you just mount through the 3 holes, literally just line it up, slide this into the correct position to line up with the holes, and you're good to go. And literally all you need to do is just drop 4 M8 bolts through, put some nuts on the bottom, and that is as simple as that. Now, in the case of the SimTags, it's just lining them up, dropping them on, putting the bolts through, and we'll be good. SimTag black pedals all mounted up now. So this is what I would consider an absolute worst case scenario for this rig. So I want to be mean to it because I want to give you an idea of, you know, what kind of flex you can expect if you were to do something like this in an extreme case. So as you can see, the heel plate is quite a way back from any reinforcement. There's nothing underneath here supporting that. So we have all that leverage when I rest my heels on there. And you can see there's a little bit of flex there, but that's actually just the heel plate itself flexing on the pedals. It's nothing to do with the rig itself. It's just purely a byproduct of the fact that there's no support underneath it. So we're not too worried about that for the context of the review. But the thing that I'm interested in seeing here is, because we don't have any extra reinforcement in the form of a pedal plate that sits across the surface of this, all of that energy when I brake is all going to be pushed right into the center of these pieces, which is going to be a really good test to see whether those have any bend or flex in them whatsoever. So under normal braking conditions, that is about the amount of pressure that I would use for 100% braking with ABS. So about there. If I really get into it and really twist it, you can see things get a little bit more crazy, but that's unnecessary. That's unrealistic because you'd never be braking that hard in real life anyway, I don't believe. Like I think even the heaviest footed person driving, you know, you're never going to push harder than that. So you can see, or at least what I'm seeing from here, it looks like the front piece is lifting up a little bit and the bottom piece is dipping down a little bit. I can also see a little tiny bit of flex just overall in the entire assembly, kind of dipping forward a bit. So I'd say if you had a pedal arrangement similar to this, you'd probably want to get a couple of pieces of 40/80 cut to the right length to go between instead of using these guys. But again, worst case scenario here. And yeah, look, I think that that's acceptable. It's about what I expected under this kind of worst case scenario. In fact, maybe even a little bit better than I expected. I don't want to make excuses for it. There is a little bit of flex there. Mecha Cup 1 pedals mounted now. This is a much more realistic scenario. You can see we now have a pivot point where my foot is pushing on the brake right between the 2 support bars. So all the force is taking place in between these two. And what we can see now, when I push on that pedal with about the same amount of force as I was before, these pedals don't require quite the force of the SimTags, but pushing all the way to there, I can see maybe a millimeter of flex on the base twisting downwards. I don't know what Tom can see there. What can you see?
Not a lot.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're not seeing that dipping in the front like we could before. It's just spreading that load more evenly across. And remember, we are still using standoffs here as well, so it's not actually ideal. Ideally, we would want to have the plate mounted directly flush to this, but because we have the bolts coming through from the bottom on these because they're not countersunk, as we called out in the review of the Mecha Cup 1s, if they were countersunk, we better have that completely flush, but we can't. But yeah, look, I'd say that is absolutely fine. There's no hesitation there whatsoever. There's no reason for concern at all.